President Trump has walked back from some of the surprising announcements he made with respect to Gaza. That doesn't mean he's changed his plans on making Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. He's proposed some tweaks along the way. 3 key points from his new social media post suggest: 1. Trump has said that Israel would hand over Gaza to the US only after the fighting was over. Second, the US would only take over after all Palestinians are resettled elsewhere. Which brings us to point number 3, that US troops would not be needed on the ground in Gaza. A day after Trump's stunning announcement, marking the reversal of decades of US foreign policy on the Middle East, attracted outrage from across the globe, his Secretary of State sought to soften what Trump meant with this long, winding explanation. But not before he transferred all the blame for Gaza being a hellhole on Hamas.
I think President Trump has offered to go in and be a part of that solution. And if some other country is willing to step forward and do it themselves, then that would be great. But no one seems to be rushing forward to do that. And that has to happen. That's the reality. That place, Gaza, right now has unexploded munitions, lots of rockets and weapons and other things that Hamas was using there. And that needs to be dealt with. And it's very difficult to do that when you have populations on top of you.
When Marco Rubio was asked a pointed question on whether Palestinians would be allowed to return if they left the Gaza Strip, this is what he had to say.
Will be able to return or not?
So I think that's just a realistic reality, that in order to fix a place like that, people are going to have to live somewhere else in the interim.
Rubio offered no details on how Palestinians would be resettled or which countries they would be able to live in the interim, as he called it. Egypt, Jordan have already rejected any idea of taking in Palestinians. The residents of Gaza have themselves rejected this suggestion earlier too. Displacement of Palestinians is an extremely sensitive issue in the Middle East. It has been so for decades. Many Palestinians say they will never leave Gaza because they fear being permanently displaced.
No matter what the defense minister says about the displacement of the people of Gaza Strip, this is not possible. This is our country, our land. We will hang on to it till the last moment. We have been waiting for 1.5 years. We have waited for the ceasefire to start to come back to our homes. Despite that, we don't have houses or homes anymore. So we got displaced to the rubble and we built tents and stayed.
They compare it to the Nakba, or catastrophe, in 1948, when hundreds of thousands lost their homes during the creation of Israel. Following Trump's proposal, Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz directed the military to develop a plan facilitating what he called the voluntary departure of Gaza residents. Katz suggested that countries critical of Israel's military actions, such as Spain, Ireland, and Norway, should accept these Palestinians. Meanwhile, Israel's foreign minister said they had no details on any Trump plan on Gaza, but was open to considering the option of Palestinians leaving on their own.
We have details yet, but we can talk about principles. The principles must be everyone that is ready to immigrate, wants to immigrate from his free will. It is moral to give him that option.
Could domestic considerations have prompted Donald Trump to make some concessions in his Gaza plans? The idea of having American soldiers in an already volatile region was scoffed at, not just by Democrats, but Republicans too. Donald Trump vowed not to get America involved in wars when he ran for office in 2016, quoting the example of US's Iraq misadventure. To then hear the same person not rule out the possibility of American boots on the ground in a place like Gaza was a step too far, even as a suggestion. Republican Senator Paul said America had voted for putting America first. In response to Marco Rubio, he said, "The pursuit for peace should be that of the Israelis and the Palestinians. We have no business contemplating yet another occupation to doom our treasure and spill our soldiers' blood." Trump's plan to make Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East has a complicated path ahead at best. The more immediate question is if and how his announcement regarding Gaza has any impact on the negotiation of Phase 2 of the Israel-Hamas deal. Remember, so far, not all 33 hostages promised to be released in Phase 1 have returned home. For our in-depth analysis and ground reports, stay tuned to Strat News Global. But we are separating our analysis from our daily news stories so that you, the viewer, can make an easier choice. So make sure you subscribe to our new YouTube channel, SNG News, and make sure you like our videos and also share them.